It's nice to meet you, Ayme
Nice.
Krogstad. Is that how you say your name?
It is, yeah.
It's nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm getting ready to go for a little girls' weekend. Every year, some friends and I paddle out to a island on Hungry Horse Reservoir, so I'm just kind of packing and getting
Oh,
getting
cool.
ready for that. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So where are you going again?
So I live in Montana,
Okay.
and so there's a place up in the Flathead Valley called the Hungry Horse Reservoir. It's kind of on your way to Glacier, but it's a big reservoir. It's huge reservoir, and it has a couple of islands that you can like paddle out to. So there's like no one else out there. So
I'm going to be in Montana in September, the end of August, and we're going to be staying in Bozeman and then around Flathead, and then we're going to Coeur d'Alene. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh, you live in Montana. That's so cool.
Yeah, you're going to be passing like super close to where I live. I live in a town called Superior. And so on your way to Coeur d'Alene, if you come from the Flathead, you'll hit St. Regis before you take a right and head that way. I'm like 15 minutes in the other direction.
Wow. Well, maybe we can meet for coffee or something if there's time.
Awesome.
I'll keep in touch with you about that.
Yeah, my office is in Missoula too, if you go through Missoula at all.
Missoula. Okay, we're going to be in Polson for a couple days. Okay, and we're going to be right next to Glacier National Park on the west side entrance, staying. So we use Hip Camp and Boondockers Welcome and different things like that because we have an Airstream travel trailer that we renovated, so we're pulling that.
Yeah, how fun.
Yeah, so I hear Montana's beautiful. I can't wait to visit. I really look forward to
I'll cross my fingers for you that the smoke is gone. It's still gorgeous though, even if it's smoky.
Yeah, is it expected to kind of
the fires have been really bad this year, partly because the last 2 summers were not really that bad, and so stuff accumulates, and then also climate change, and it's been the hottest year on record with no rain. It's a bad fire year, but
okay.
Yeah, it's still, I had a girlfriend come visit me a few years ago during a bad fire season, and she still had a great time. There's still lots to see. So
we're gonna have fun no matter what. We're not gonna let that stop us. So it just means that we'll have to come back another time when there isn't a lot of fires. You see things from a different perspective too. But
make sure when you leave Polson and head up towards Glacier to go the east side of Flathead Lake and stop and get some cherries. They should still be happening at that point.
Cherries. Okay. Isn't like they're blackberries or huckleberries or something also that's supposed
huckleberries? Yeah, though they're probably going to be gone unless you go up really high.
Okay.
They're like popping up right now, so they'll probably be done.
Dang it. Oh well. Maybe somebody's froze them for us.
There's huckleberry stuff everywhere. Like you will be able to definitely get huckleberry stuff, no problem.
I don't think I've ever had a huckleberry, so
they're like a tart blueberry.
I can handle that. Not too sweet.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So anyway, glad that you joined our group. We haven't been doing too much, as far as activity is concerned in the group quite yet. We just formed like 3 or 4 weeks ago and come together and just hopefully start having more conversations and more collaboration and things like that. So many of us have very, very similar ideas and insights and dreams that we have for how we want to bring our gifts to the world and really make a difference in the way things are going, because somebody's got to do something, right? So I remember you, okay, so I asked you a couple questions in our link to the Zoom, the Calendly, scheduling this time with me. One was, what's your superpower? And you said that your superpower is helping people learn the power of reconnecting to their body to generate the life they want. So I was hoping maybe you could tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a dance and movement therapist. That's what I got my master's degree in, but I've also done some somatic training. I just finished my level 2 in sensory motor psychotherapy, which I put a link on the page to that. Incredible training. Love it. But really, I guess an important piece to know is that I practiced classical ballet for 14 years. So from like the time I could walk until I left for college, that was really my life. And so dancing was always, I did ballet, modern, and jazz, kind of the whole spectrum, though ballet was really the focus of the studio I went to. And so expressing myself through movement was always something that sustained me. It got me through some really difficult times. I struggled with depression growing up pretty severely, and my family didn't really know, like they didn't know what was going on, because I didn't know what was going on. I seem really cheery, and so, you know, one of those things where I didn't realize until later on that that's what was happening. And I also got diagnosed with ADD when I was in college. So definitely resonate with the neurodivergent crowd. I'm also adopted, and that was a huge piece of why I eventually ended up in psychology, because, you know, my whole life I was my own like nature versus nurture experiment. I am in contact with my biological mother, but we're not super close. And yeah, so I think that, you know, I was really drawn to a lot of things, attachment theory. I'm certified in attachment theory, but also have been really drawn to the more spiritualistic, like holistic side as well. I grew up very Orthodox Italian Catholic. And when I went to college, moved away from that, really moved away from religion and dogma in general, but reconnected with spirituality mainly through yoga at first. Did yoga starting in high school, and then got certified while I was in graduate school. And so I'm a certified mat and aerial yoga teacher in addition.
That is amazing. I mean, I was looking at your website too. I was like, wow, you do so many things.
Yeah, kind of jack of all trades,
Yeah.
master of some. So really in my practice now that I'm fully, you know, in a solo private practice, really working to bring all of those aspects together. And so as far as my superpower, I really try to condense it down when I explain to people what I do, that really all of these pieces come together to help people be connected to their body. Because I see the body as the conduit. You know, if you believe that there's something else out there, you know, I usually call it source, because that's pretty neutral. Sorry, my cat is gonna, you may see her in a second. She really wants to be in my lap right now.
I saw her.
Her name's Lucy. So just even for me, recognizing that when I moved away from dance and that self-expression and got more into, you know, kind of like physical fitness, tried on some triathlon type stuff in college, didn't continue to pursue it. But as I've moved through my own life journey, that noticing that the times when I was most disconnected from my body were the times that I was most struggling. And so when I went to graduate school, I started 8 years ago, and then graduated 6 years ago. You know, doing that process really got me back connected to myself. And I think that in tandem with the yoga teacher training, you know, because you're doing yoga sometimes twice a day. And so it really revealed to me that it wasn't just dancing in general, it was like really being connected to my body and listening to its signals. That was important to me. So really focused on my career, got, you know, graduated. My dream at the time was to be a therapist at a boarding school, a therapeutic boarding school, because that's the industry I had been in. And so I really wanted to move back to Montana. I went to school in Boston. And so I got a job at a therapeutic boarding school in Kalispell area up in the Flathead. And was there for a few years and realized that was not really what I wanted to do. And eventually landed in private practice.
Sometimes we got to figure out what it is that we don't want to do in order to figure out what it is that we do want to do. That's what I find. Hi, Lucy. Aw.
Yeah.
She wants to be.
So a few years ago, the woman who taught my aerial yoga teacher training that I did when I first moved to the Flathead reached out, and she was doing a women's group based on shamanism and mentoring and teaching, because she's does shamanic journeying for people. And so I jumped into that, and that was super cool. That connected me to the Gene Keys, which connected me to human design.
Ooh.
And so since then have just sort of been dabbling and using those as more of an assessment tool for people who are interested.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah. It's, you know, what I have discovered is that when people get their human design chart, they feel so seen.
Yeah, it kind of makes a lot of sense. It's like, oh, that's why I do that. And it normalizes it. It's like, it's okay that you're not the same as everybody else, but you know, you're exactly the way you're supposed to be. And yeah, I haven't really taken the opportunity yet to dive into human design too much, but I have, you know, dabbled in it a little bit here and there, but I would love to learn more. How comfortable do you feel teaching that to others? Or is it something that I mean, I don't know how far you've gone in your training or what you feel comfortable with, but I would love to learn more about it. And I know our group would too. So one of my hopes is in our group that, you know, we can all kind of just teach each other some things that are different that maybe, you know, we're interested in, or maybe just be a little bit outside of our current belief system, and just be open to some new ideas that would inspire us to perhaps maybe pursue training in that ourselves, or something like that. But anyway, yeah, a lot of us are really interested in human design for sure.
I'm just scratching the surface. I don't really know a ton, but I'm happy to share like what I learned. And also
resources, just having resources to look at that are helpful. So
yeah, I'm much more familiar with the gene keys. I've been diving into that a lot. I've dived into that a lot more. Like I've done the actual like structured course for the activation sequence, which is the first part. And I'm hoping to kind of, you know, my sensory motor training took 8 months, this is the level 2. And then the level 1 was 6 months before that. So for the last year and a half, I've really been focused on that. And I am so happy to share about that. As well as I see that connecting into the more spiritual pieces too, because it all fits together. You know, sensory motor is really big on helping people understand how they organize their experience. And so it's really top down, bottom up processing together. And then it uses that, you know, keeping them mindful and in their bodies and questioning and curious to then find trauma that needs to be released, whether it's event trauma or attachment wounding. But just the piece of helping people learn, oh, I have this tightness in my chest. Okay, stay with that. What happens next? Oh, all of a sudden I have this memory, right? And so it, you know, it really teaches you to pause and look at, I get a tightness, I have a memory, I have a thought, and then I have this urge to move, or, you know, it's different for everybody. But even just that little piece totally changed the way that I did therapy with people. So it's, you know, once you understand that, then you can start to look at when you're not living in alignment with your authority, right? In human design, like I'm a generator, right? So if I'm not paying attention and I'm trying to initiate, that doesn't work out for me. I have to draw things into my aura and then respond to them based off of what my gut says, not what my mind says.
Exactly.
So I think that is maybe the very long-winded explanation as to answer to that question is, yeah, I think that helping people reconnect to their body and get back to that natural state is like paramount.
Definitely. And then once someone can become more connected to themselves and their own body, then they can connect more to other people. Because right now there's so much disconnecting that's happening among, you know, in our relationships and our families, and, you know, just in general, just across the board. And then also, you know, one thing that I see is also disconnection from nature. And I think that's really important too, is connecting to nature. And the shamanic kind of studies and the interest that I have as well kind of ties into that too, because I've been studying a lot about nature energies, the elementals, and different things like that. But yeah, that really piques my interest. But I just love how you just have followed the breadcrumbs throughout your career. I mean, you seem pretty young-ish in your career. I don't know how old you are, but I know that.
Yeah, I'm going to be 36 soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you've done so much already in your lifetime and in your career, and you've really just followed those things that you're really interested in, and you've gotten some amazing training already. You have so much to offer. I mean, that's awesome. You have so much more, I'm sure, that you're interested in, and continue to. What's next for you, do you think?
Well, in the physical world, like not in the online world, I am trying to get a children's movement therapy group introduced to Missoula and the greater area. It's a really incredible intervention for kids that rank high on the ACE scale. And you can do it online, but I'm not going to bother with that. So if this Delta variant doesn't mess stuff up, I'm hoping that to introduce that. And also University of Montana is in Missoula. And so working on, I had a girl reach out to me because a colleague referred her because she was interested in, she's double majoring in dance and psych. And so she needed an internship and she's like, hey, do you have anything for me to do? And I was like, we can make it work. So through that, I've been thinking about maybe possibly also trying to take on some interns who would then be in charge of the rainbow dance and going and doing it. It's meant to be done like in the schools or in the daycares. Yeah. So
we need to help our children, that's for sure. They need
Yeah.
a lot of help right now.
Yeah, and for smaller children, so you can use it with ages 6 months all the way up to 9 years.
Wow.
And there's modifications for like the, you split the kids up into appropriate age groups, but the 6 month to 3 year olds is done with the caregiver present. So it's a really great attunement based model. And I have a dear friend who works for CPS. So we're talking about working it into some reunification processes, possibly, offering it as another piece to Circle of Security.
Yes, I love Circle of Security, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Kind of like
so I was
based
have you heard of parent-child interaction therapy?
Yes, but I don't know a ton about it.
I was certified in that. I'm not certified anymore because I haven't continued. I'm not using that model anymore, but something that I used quite a bit.
Yeah.
And also another model that was, it's integrative model of family therapy and EMDR. So
cool.
it's a team treatment model where you have, the family first goes to the family therapist and they work on things, and then they go over to the EMDR therapist and they do, anchoring and clearing of some of the trauma through bilateral stimulation and the different things. So it was pretty awesome. Problem is I was in a solo practice, so I was kind of doing both. I was wearing both hats. But it was neat because in vivo, like right there in the moment when, you had an adoptive child and the adoptive parent and, it's new and they're still trying to form that attachment. And then, something amazing happens in their relationship, you can kind of like anchor it right in that moment. So and Circle of Security is a big part of some of the training that I've had too. I didn't get specific training in that, but I really do like that model.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I also was not specifically trained in it, but I worked for an organization here in Montana that's pretty big called Intermountain. They're wonderful. They do some really, really great stuff. And their whole model is built on Circle of Security and attachment-based practices. So they do some really wonderful things. They're based out of Helena, so a lot of their services are there. They have a residential treatment center that is fantastic, and then do some day treatment stuff around the state in schools. So yeah.
Whoa, nice, awesome, awesome.
And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm actually working on creating a course for other coaches or therapists who are interested in including more somatics into their practice, but aren't really sure where to start. So maybe they're not ready to jump into like a sensory motor or Gottman or, something. Gottman's not really somatic, but I'm just thinking of like bigger trainings. So I'm currently designing and putting together just like an intro level. Here's how to use the body, if you don't know how. So that's, I just started doing research for like what, I'm not good at marketing.
Well,
as a therapist, I'm not good at marketing.
You know what? There's resources for that too. We'll talk about that some more if you want some support and maybe some guidance. Maybe I can point you in the direction where you might be able to get some, because I'm working on the same thing. I'm learning. Yeah. I'm in a group right now, a program where I'm learning everything about blogging, about writing a book, about social media, about how to, start a YouTube channel. So I started a YouTube channel as a result of these videos that I started recording because I couldn't get them downloaded onto my computer or onto Facebook. And so I had to download them onto YouTube and then link it from YouTube to the Facebook group. So I'm learning a lot. Right now. And brain is like,
yeah. I'm in a program too for how to market a course.
Oh, good. You do have the resources. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's been a little challenging though, because what I realized is a lot of the people in there, because it's just blanket like any course, right? And a lot of it challenges my ethics. Like, some people are like, why can't you just interview your clients? And I'm like, no, like there's a power dynamic there, and because they're marketing people. They don't understand the therapeutic relationship, and I get that. So I've had to tweak some things because I think that there's an ethical responsibility that isn't really there when you're just a coach, right? When you're doing coaching, it's different. So yeah, it's been interesting, and I'm super open to all resources. So
yeah, which is, what you said, it's kind of interesting to me too, because coaches come from one perspective, and therapists or, counselors or LMFTs, whatever you want to refer to us, of us that are usually licensed professionals in the mental health field. We come from different perspectives. And so I'm really interested in figuring out how to bridge that gap.
yeah.
So I think, having some of the ethical information and standards and stuff for coaches to learn would be helpful, and empower them and make them even, more, better at what they're doing. And then for therapists also to kind of have that perspective of being in the moment and looking towards the future and outcomes that you want, and not so much digging into the past and being stuck and talking about the same thing over and over and over again. Those things don't work. So I'm kind of working on the same thing. Just been kind of blogging, even though I haven't published anything yet. I've been blogging over the last couple of years here and there, and then just kind of thinking about how to create a book and possibly curriculum. And I just have so many ideas. And there's a lot of distractions that can be out there too. Lots of things can be distracting, and trying to narrow that down and focus on one thing at a time is what I need to do, because
I feel that.
you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. Yeah, I want to learn it all. I wish I could just fall asleep on a book and through osmosis, just absorb the info, because there's just so much to learn and grow from.
I took a speed reading course several years ago, and I don't really use it that much anymore, because I'm like, well, wait a minute, I speed read that book, but I still don't remember anything that's in there. But supposedly everything that we've ever experienced is stored in our unconscious mind, so it's supposed to be there. So I'm just waiting for the day when I can actually access all of it. And it's just when it can all download at one time and be like, oh, I have everything that I need. I have all the information I need. So anyway, I don't know how much time you have. I don't want to keep you too long if you have to go.
I do 10 more minutes. I have someone at 1.
Okay, 10 more. I don't even know what time it is.
So that's in 15 minutes.
Okay.
No, it's in 20 minutes. Sorry.
Your mountain time right now too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you were talking about the shamanic work that you do, and that really intrigues me because I'm really interested in that as well. But what's your favorite tarot deck, and do you have a drum? Do you have a rattle? Do you know anything about that stuff? Because I really want to make a drum.
Oh yeah, nice.
You have one?
I don't have one yet. I use drumming music when I go into journey space for people. My favorite tarot deck is, I have so many. I would probably say I have this deck that's based off of Finnish folklore. That is really cool because it just really pushes people out of their comfort zone and the way they typically relate to tarot if they're familiar with it. I also really love Kim Cran's The Wild Unknown. She's got the Animal Spirit deck, and then she also has the tarot deck.
I have the Animal Spirit deck. I like that. Was my first deck I think I bought. Actually, the second one.
Yeah. And then I love Anodea Judith's book, Eastern Body, Western Mind. So she's a yoga teacher and a psychologist. She got her PhD in yoga or something, but she wrote Eastern Body, Western Mind, and it's the chakras and psychology parallel together. So she looks at how unbalanced chakras manifest in somatic and psychological symptoms. That's one of my Bibles.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to look at that.
I also really love, this is my favorite tarot book.
I've got that one.
Yeah, this is a popular one, so super fun. And then I also always keep this, just because any animals that show up, either in my dreams or in my journeys, I kind of just keep this on.
I don't have that one. I have one similar. Maybe it's a different version, but I think
got a couple.
Animal Spirit guides. I have. Yeah.
It's just an A to Z, and it just talks about if this animal shows up or call on this animal when.
Oh yeah.
So that's super helpful.
I I found it difficult to find books about that. And honestly, in the beginning, because it started for me, I started seeing the owl everywhere. There were owls everywhere. I was like, what in the heck is going on with all these owls? I mean, just like all these different places it was showing up. So I was so desperate to find out what that meant, because I knew it was a message for me. And so they're all messages, honestly, everything. There's so many messages that are going on out there. If you really tune into it, it's pretty magical.
It is. Yeah. It's, I don't have a rattle. Something else I would like to get. The drumming music that I listen to has a callback with a rattle at the end. So
I bought a rattle on Etsy I really like. If I had it in front of me, I'd show it to you, but they do a really beautiful job. If you're interested, I'll show you the Etsy that I got it from. It was really pretty.
I would love to have that link. I use my chimes, like my little meditation chimes right now when I come out to return, myself to me and them to themselves.
You have team shaw? Yeah.
I don't
just because I feel like
mine's something.
We moved. I don't know where they went, but I had some. I don't know where they are right now, but well, I know we have to wrap up here in a second, but you said one of the things that you feel like you need in order for you to be more successful in the work that you do is like-minded group of people to draw support and inspiration from. Do you feel like you have that? In other places or, okay. So how can this group support you? How can we support you? And what would you like to see happen in the group that could potentially be more supportive and inspiring for someone like you? Because I really want to be a place for all of us to kind of connect and feel like, we're not alone in this journey, that it's important that we feel comfortable in embracing our gifts and sharing, authentically sharing that part of ourselves, even though we may feel vulnerable about doing that. Some people aren't feeling vulnerable about it. Some people are just going out and just doing it. And I'm so proud of them and excited to see what comes from that. But I'll let you answer the question.
I think just this kind of stuff, right? Like, I want to go back. I haven't had a chance yet, but going back and watching the other interviews that you did and just chatting with people, like sharing resources, talking about maybe being able to share like a difficult experience we had with a client or with another professional. Because I think that, when I first did my training in shamanic stuff, I was like really scared to tell people about it because it was magical for me and transformative. And I knew that I did some free sessions for friends that were totally transformative for them, but to actually feel comfortable bringing it into the therapeutic space was really hard for me. And so right now I keep it separate. So people who aren't private pay, who have insurance, if they want to do a session, then we do it outside the therapy space, because I just don't know ethically, like if I ever got audited, I don't think insurance would cover shamanic journey.
Well, that's what I wonder. That's what I want to find out is where is the boundary and where can we draw the line? And I think for us to be able to operate and provide a service that is really heart-based, that really works, that people want, without the fear of being audited or being sanctioned or having your license suspended. I was, and I'm keeping an eye on what time it is here, so you've got a couple minutes. I decided to go and look, because I'm licensed in Iowa. I was licensed in Maryland too, but I let that license go during the pandemic. But I'm licensed in Iowa, and I went to look at the public record of information of different licensed professionals in social work, and look at the different sanctions or fines or anything that was going on. And I couldn't believe, like, just certain record keeping and things that people were being caught, people that I know. I was like, what? And there was this one person, oh good Lord, she was in the news, and I don't want to talk about it. I'm sorry, it's not funny. It's not funny at all, but I just can't believe what some professionals actually do. This person not only had sex with her minor client and had sex with his friends in a hotel, bought him a gun, registered it in her name, and gave him a gun. Like, I don't know what people are thinking. I have no idea how this It's embarrassing. I mean, I don't even know, but I would really like to know where we have to draw the line for ourselves without being fearful of how much of our gifts that we can share with people, you know?
Yeah.
So you're, what is your licensing board? What is it called?
So I'm licensed through, I'm an
Excuse me.
LCPC through Montana.
LPC?
Yeah, well, in Montana, it's LCPC.
Okay.
So it's a licensed clinical professional counselor. I don't know why they add the extra word.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my licensing board. And actually my therapist used to be on the licensing board. And so sometimes we chat, she'll tell me about, you know, obviously not giving away identifying information, but
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
she said that mostly in Montana when she was on the board, it was dual role. So people ending with their clients and then sleeping with them or sleeping with them while they were seeing them. You know, there's a lot of that. And a lot of people being like people complaining about the therapist saying, like offering something that they clearly were not trained to do.
Okay.
And so, and I see that because many people don't know what dance therapy is. And there are a few people legitimately in the town where I work who are trained in a dance therapy. They didn't go to school for dance and movement therapy, but they trained in a modality that is dance and movement therapy based.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this woman, Janet Adler, she does authentic movement, and she will train you in authentic movement and give you a certification without, you know, you having to be a dance therapist. And so there are legitimately some people who are doing dance therapy and they can say that, right? Because they're trained in this modality. But I see so many profiles on Psychology Today that are like, I'm doing dance therapy. And it's like, no, you're not. I am literally the only registered dance therapist in the state. Like,
right.
There's me and one other person that does somatics from Naropa. Like,
yeah, I mean, I can't even do yoga. I can't even say this is yoga, do this yoga pose and it can help you, you know, with X, Y, and Z because I haven't been trained in yoga. So I know we have to be careful about that, but you know, how many certifications and degrees and licenses do we really have to get? I mean, I know that there should be some level of training and competency that we have before we, you know, say we can do X, Y, and Z, but you know, there has to be a line there too, because I'm not going back to school for anything. I'm done. I'm like ready to retire now.
And the example I give is that like I'm a yoga teacher and I use yoga in therapy because I'm certified in yoga, but I don't call it yoga therapy. Right? I call it therapeutic yoga, you know, and I know that's such like a nitpicky thing, but I think it's just important to educate people that there is such a thing as dance and movement therapy. It is its own thing that has the, you know, this is what it is. If you're using movement in therapy, that's great. Like go for it. Right. But don't, you know, I think educating people about what dance therapy is so that clients have an understanding of what they're getting. Right. Like, and so, yeah, I agree with you. I think that if you have a strong yoga practice and you feel comfortable guiding people in session, I don't think you need to be certified to use it. Right. You just have to be confident enough in yourself. A licensing board might say differently, but, you know, I think, again, it's working within the parameters that, you know, ethically, right. It's keeping people safe, no harm. Right.
And that's kind of what I would like to do. I'd like to see some of us, whoever feels called to do so and take the time, is to actually go to their licensing board or speak to an attorney that is well versed in that area of, you know, the practice, where we could get some of the answers to those questions so we know where that line is, and maybe share that and help educate people about that, so that we're protecting yourself as a professional, protecting the profession, and also protecting the client that's coming to us. All of us need, you know, to be protected through that. So I'd like to, I can't do it all though. I mean, I'm just, I could definitely go and look at the licensing board for social work, and I'll talk to my attorney. I don't know that he has that much expertise in the area of medical and social work type things, but yeah, I think that
that's great.
With somebody. So yeah, because a lot of us, I think, have those questions for sure. So,
and maybe there's a really simple training we could create, right? That would certify people that would satisfy, you know, a pretty large, you know, many boards, right? Like it would, like, I think using the National Board of Certified Counselors, at least for like LPCs or whatnot. And then I'm sure there's a social work, like a larger social work board.
NASW, National
Yeah,
Association of Social Workers. Yeah.
Looking at their requirements for CEUs, right? Because I really want my course to get approved for CEUs. Because I want, you know, it's for professional development, right? And so, you know, maybe the answer is you create a really basic training where people
That's what exactly I want to do, but make it affordable for people too. So they don't have to go out and spend $10,000 getting a certification. If they're already a therapist or a counselor already, like, why do they have to get certified in coaching? It's just, you know, what do we need to really become coaches? Because I want to be more of considered a life coach, but I don't like labels. But I know that there's a lot of other people that are trying to cross that bridge. And so how do we bridge the gap between those two things? And because we need more helping professionals out there that are competent, that are heart-based, that can do the work and can bring their gifts and show up, you know, for the people. So I would totally love to talk to you more about that. So maybe we can make some more time and chat, and feel free to be as active as you want in our group and pose questions and post stuff, and I'll engage, and we'll try to get more people engaged and interested in some of these topics. So I support you and what you're doing, and I'm so thankful that that we were able to meet, and look forward to collaborating. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, I have some therapists. One of my friends up in the Flathead, she's just finishing her PhD in holistic psychology. And her and two other therapists up in the Flathead just created this retreat that they've been doing called Medicine for the Modern Soul. And I would love to invite them into the group if you.
Yes, invite them, please.
Yeah, because Tracy is awesome. She got her master's in recreational or wilderness therapy from Naropa.
Oh my God.
You know, she's just like so on the same page. She actually doesn't take insurance at all.
I don't either.
So she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, I don't take insurance either. I don't diagnose anymore because insurance requires a diagnosis, and I think it's a label and it's not helpful.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I would love to hear more too, like as far as the support piece goes, because I take insurance. All of my clients, except for a couple, are insurance right now, and I really want to move away from that.
Yeah,
but it's scary, right? Because it's like
it is. We can talk about that too. Yeah, it is scary, but you can do it. I'm also not really seeing that many one-on-one clients right now because I started a different business with my husband, and I kind of took like a year off, and we moved, and we've been traveling, and we're in El Paso right now, and we're going to put the house for sale. And we just got a lot going on. But since a few months ago, I just kind of like took my focus back onto what it is that I want to do with my mental health experience and what I'm passionate about. And so, I just got a lot of ideas. So we have a dream of buying some land and having like a retreat center and, forest bathing and farming and just all kinds of stuff. So invite your friends, and if they want to set up a time to call me, have them reach out to me on Messenger and send me a private message. Because my Calendly, I need to I don't have anything in the future up on it right now because my schedule right now is kind of up in the air, but I can fit people in along the way. So I'm pretty flexible.
Awesome.
And we're going to be traveling. So I'm so grateful to meet you, and
you too.
Send me your phone number or something in Messenger, and I'll let you know we're in Montana. If we can connect and just say hi, I would love to see you face to face.
Yeah, I would love to do that. You'll be right in my area. So
okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.